Right, next thing we're going to do in our realization of our crane over here, or our lifting device, is we're going to do a render drawing. So we've already got our counterweight over here, our base plate of wood, and our aluminium truss with iron rivets. We're going to go to render it. So it should have already been saved from previously. Next thing we're going to go over here in our design, we're going to go to render, and it should load up our thing over here. We're going to pick a nice angle to look at our lifting device. Let's say we do it like this. And then it's just as simple as pressing the render button and using our education account with our unlimited credits. Or I could do it locally and burn the computer. Let's do that. We've got this big image file. Let's just do a standard render. Press the render button, and so right now it's rendering this design to make it look more realistic, and I don't think I'll put a background on, but I will pause I'm going to go pause the video, and I'll come back after that. Alright, so we have our first rendering, and even though it looks really, really nice, we still see it's sort of a bit of a fail happening here because, can we zoom in? Oh, won't even let us zoom in. It's clearly all metal. It's all aluminium. So, what happened here is, I believe if we go to our appearance tab, even though in the design, like we changed this material, but I think our physical material appearance only maintains the appearance in like the design tab. So we might have to actually change its physical material. We have to right click. If we change its physical material to cast iron, that might fix that issue. Now, where would you be? Cast iron would be in the metals. Probably iron cast. Alright, and let's also go to, are you going to give us a woods? Woods would be under woods. We want pine. Well, that's looking nicer now. And then I believe we want all our rivets. We need to press all our rivets over here. We want our rivets to be out of steel. So I believe we can just highlight and we can press. Can we just press this entire tab over here? Hold on, what have we selected? We press steel. Can we press U? Why did you turn everything into the steel? That's all the rivets, and then it's selecting everything. Well, that's not good. I just want you to select that, please. Thank you. Yes. Alright, select all those, right click, physical material. This is going to be aluminium. Alright, let's go to our rivets and we press this rivet to, I'm holding the shift button so I can just select all the things at once. If we go to that, it should be metal. Then we want this to be cast iron, and we want this to be pine. Alright, so now when we go to our render, I will save this. Save. Yep, save. Now when we go to our render, alright, we're starting to get the materials in here. So this over here is just standard pine. We can also there's also a version of Pine that's 3D materials, and I'll show you the difference. So this over here, this Pine is going to render out exactly like this. It's just got an image of what the material is. So it's assuming this is like a JPEG or whatever for Pine. And the lines over here look, I mean, it looks like you're playing Counter-Strike 1.6, honestly. It's not amazing. So what we can do over here is we can right-click, and we're going to change its appearance. We're going to find that 3D texture that we had before. So right-click, and we want Pine. If we look at Pine, look at the 3D. Right, these are 3D images. So what it's going to do, notice here these lines are just all going vertical. If I get in unfinished Pine and paste this over here, or do I have to download it first? I think it is downloading. Right click, appearance. Pine, let me just download it. Okay, and now I just be able to click and drag. Alright, see the difference over here. It has straight lines over here, but has circular lines over here. So this is more like what a real piece of Pine would look like. It even has like little dots that you get when you do actual Pine, and this is going to make your object look more realistic. So now if we render this, so let's do the same view that we had before. Let's just move this, and let's go to like that, and then let's zoom in a bit more, and let's go to render, and then we'll do a local render again. The size seems fine. What do these do? We don't want video. Let's go 1 point. Let's just do that size over there. Let's press render. And while this is rendering, I'll pause the video again. Alright, the rendering is done. Let's have a look at it. Alright, so now we're getting our rendering. Is this the zoom button? Okay, sure, whatever. But over here we have our rendering, and this over here is looking a lot more realistic. I mean, I know the aluminium is super shiny, but it's still looking more like what our actual model is. We have our grey cast iron at the back, we have our aluminium, and you can see over here there is some sort of difference between the aluminium frame and the rivets. If we go to this other drawing over here, we see this is clearly all aluminium. It looks really shiny, but it's not what our actual thing would look like. Let's actually, and when we do rendering, we can also do other things, like we can zoom into an individual location. So we want this, and we can get this rendering over here. Same thing, I believe we can press render. We can render this zoomed in part, and this is good when you want to like advertise parts of your thing, or if you have a very intricate detail to explain, you might want to do like a close-up rendering of a particular component. Again, I'll pause it and I'll resume when we finish that rendering. Alright, so that rendering is done, and if we click over here, we can see that we zoom in. So, and there we have our, not going to zoom in, is it? We have our image of our aluminium. So we can zoom in and see individual components if we want. What this also shows us is the zoom is based on it's based on your current location, but notice how the screen is not perfectly aligned. Right? If we zoom out here, can I half this? Okay. So if we look over here, we can clearly see that this was in the center of the screen, but see how the screen ends over here, where this, at the very, very corner, that's only here. So what the renderer does is it picks the exact center of the screen that you have, but then it does how many pixels around it. So you sometimes have to test with your renderings. So if you really want to do it, you do a fast local, you do a fast rendering where you go over here and you pick like the standard rendering, because that's going to be slow. And then if you like the overall dimensions of your render, then you can do like a final rendering to do it into more into a high graphical setup. That's it with regards to rendering. You can play around and change materials and emissiveness, and if you want more details on rendering, We have the renderings with regarding the lamp assessment task where we did rendering, and you can also have a look at any of my playlists on the graphics technology because they do rendering as well in them. Okay, bye bye.